Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. Today I would like to share with you Entrypoint Insight. You can find more of these insights in the description to this video. And today it's actually a nice story that I would like to share with you. And during this story that happened to me during my vacation time when I traveled through Europe, I had few experiences that led me to an insight that I would like to share with you. So I was very excited. This was about 3 weeks ago, and I went. I think it was a 10-day trip. I went to Holland, then I went to Canary Islands, and then I went back to Holland and back to Prague. And the first time, and the first part of the trip in Holland, I was accompanied by my son, and what happened was that we ended up being in a Amsterdam pub, and I started talking with a couple who was obviously, or to me they sounded British, but of course from their accent I could hear that it turned out that the man was from Scotland, and the woman was from Ireland, and it was really hard understanding them. And they even told me that sometimes they have a hard time talking between each other because they both have either use different words or different accents, and so that was interesting, and I was just enjoying my drink, and my son was talking with the couple, and even though my son I thought speaks English, he just couldn't understand them, and he kept on asking them if they could say it again, and that he did not understand, and at a certain point I started laughing because for people who don't use, or for whom, like myself, English is a second language, you strive to speak in a way that people understand you. And, many times, like myself, I don't put down that I'm a native speaker at all. I just say that my English is on a professional level. I feel that when I speak English, people all over the world understand me. But I'm not a native speaker, which is the highest level of speaking a language is when you reach the level that you sound like a native speaker. So I started laughing because I realized that this was a funny situation, that you see two people who they would put down that they're native speakers of English language, but they are unable to communicate English in such a way that people can understand them. So I thought it was funny, so we said goodbye to each other. Then my son flew back to Prague. I went to the island Lanzarote to spend time with my parents, and then I flew back, and again I was in Amsterdam by myself. And again it happened that I started speaking with a couple, and the couple they were both British, and they were from the north part of England, and it was extremely hard to understand them. Like, I could still be able to understand people from the Scottish man and the Irish woman. But with these British people from north part of England, I had no idea what they were saying. So I had to ask them, please speak slower. What I was very surprised about, that she commented my English, that she feels that I have a crystal clear English, which I don't think so. But I feel that when people listen to me speaking English, that it's not that easy for them to identify exactly where I am from. But more than that, because I've been doing international business for the past 30 years, 35 years of my life, I think that I always adjust my English pronunciation and my vocabulary on the person or on the level of English of the person that I'm speaking with. And I was taught this when I was managing customer support lines, and people from all over the world were communicating with us. You always have to adjust the level of your English to the level of English that the other person is speaking to you with. So anyway, so there is this British couple, and it's so hard to understand them. But she said, that she likes my accent, because I feel that people understand that I do have an accent, but in the same time, everyone understands me. So, I asked her. I wanted to ask her to tune down a little bit the British accent, because I felt awkward. How I really wanted to talk to them, like about life and about life in Britain, because I used to travel to Britain a lot. I haven't been there in a long time, so I wanted to talk to them about Britain, but I couldn't, because I couldn't understand every other word. It was, and I felt at a certain point that it was like they were making fun of me, because I kept on asking her, please pronounce it, in more of the international English way, and I didn't know how to explain it. So I used this, example that I have from the Czech Republic. There's this eastern part of the Czech Republic where people speak with a bit of an accent, and some of these people decide to go to the capital, Prague, where I'm from, because they feel that they can earn better money, better living than in that part of Czech Republic. And when they come here, they try to lose the accent from the east part of Czech Republic, because they know that it's not really appropriate to speak with local dialects in a corporate setting. And I know this, and what I'm saying is, it's not just my opinion, but I hear it from other people around me, that of course when you run into these people and you notice that the accent from the east part of Czech Republic, it's sort of, they are upset because they want to lose it. So they're trying to lose it to speak more common Czech. And so I told her this story, and I asked her, could you turn down the Britishness, the dialectishness from your language, and so that and turn it more into the let's say international English, so I can understand you better. And they were not able to do it. They were looking at me like I'm crazy. So I told them, you know what a language is? Language, in reality, it is just a sound that a human can make. And through this sound, I'm trying to transfer information. So if I know, so I try to transmit from me the information. It's like singing a song. I'm trying to sing the information in a way so that the other person can digest and the information in the easiest way. So as I'm saying this to them, they were looking at me, and I asked them, so why is it that you are not willing or even trying to just for the temporarily while talking to me, lose the accent? And to that, I even asked myself, it must be so hard for British people, when you travel around Europe, and everywhere you go, you speak with your dialect, so that everyone has a hard time understanding your English. It must be also frustrating for you, because every single time people are looking at you and they have no idea what you are saying. Now, because I understand that this could be a cognitive bias, that it's just my my opinion. So since then I asked so many people, bartenders, around Europe, and I asked them, and they don't understand it, and they noticed it themselves. Why do British people, and this is what I'm saying right now, this is what I was saying out loud in front of the couple from England, who were not able to tune down their accent. So as I'm saying this, and I'm thinking out loud to myself, and I'm asking to myself, like when I go to a foreign country, I take a little vocabulary and I learn the few local words. So shouldn't British people, before they travel somewhere, it would be so helpful to have a little British English or my dialect English to international English accent, so that it's much easier for them? And as I was thinking about this, I came up with this brutal insight, which again, the insights I am pointing at, they're not about this is the truth. No, it's just a different way of looking at things. And when you look at, and so right now we are talking about language, and I'm talking about a certain situation. And right now what I'm going to tell you, why the hypothesis why British people don't get the idea of turning down their British accent so that it's easier to communicate in their mother tongue. So this situation, I'm going to look at it from a different point of view. And this different point of view doesn't change anything about the situation, doesn't change anything about any other points of view. It just gives you another view through which you might gain extra information which you would not see from this view. This is actually what I'm talking about in the video about, it's this one right here, where one song over there is written from a motif when I was in water fasting, and the other song you can see above my head, that's a song from the same motif when I was fasting. And it's not about demonstrating if one song is better than the other. No, it's about demonstrating how the brain can work differently and gain more information from different points of view from the same motif. And this is exactly the same thing. The insight I'm going to tell you, it's not how it is, but it's just a different way of looking at the reality and gaining more insight from it. So as I said out loud, so why do British people, how come they cannot lose their accent a little bit when they are traveling across Europe and are talking to someone who is not obviously native speaker of English language? And my answer was, maybe you have it socially taught, because for the past hundreds and hundreds of years, Britain actually conquered, half of the world, and language is one of the ways you actually conquer a nation. Because when you look at, for example, India, I bet way more Indian people had to learn English language, and less people learned, and the British people didn't have to learn the local language, because it's part of the how you subordinate the whole nation. This is exactly what happened in the Czech Republic when we were taken over by Germany. I'm sure that Hitler wasn't paying the Gestapo soldiers who were here to do crash course in the Czech language. No, Czech people were forced to learn German. And I think that historically, because this is what was happening, and that's another thing, another way to look at language, that language, it's not just a sound through which I'm passing information, meaning the content. But because we are socially very hypersensitive species, then we are, of course, sensitive to how the information is transferred. And of course, forcing other person to come to your terms of communicating is a way of gaining dominance. And as I'm saying this, it sounds crazy, but in the same time, it sounds like that's how it is. That through the way you speak, you are actually showing a certain status. In fact, in the Czech Republic, there are certain people who believe that the more British accent you have, the more English you speak. And sometimes they are very good in hitting the accent, but are still very bad with grammar and vocabulary, so it sounds funny. So then you realize that language, it's not just a sound for transmitting information, from which obviously you should always try both come to an agreement. What's the easiest way how you can communicate? And I always feel that it should be much easier for the British people to tune it down. So anyway, so as I said this, we just said goodbye to each other and they left. And when I was telling this to my mother, my mother said, because we were speaking over the phone, because she was still in the Canary Islands, she told me, well, maybe it's just the British people. But to that I mentioned to her that because when we were at the resort, we went to a restaurant. It was a Chinese buffet. It was a Chinese restaurant, and I speak a little bit of Mandarin, so I said a few words. I ordered the drinks. I asked her how she is. I was even able to say not just one glass, but or one beer. Because one is E and beer is Pijio. So if I said E Pijio, she would understand that I said one beer. But when you are ordering, let's say, a glass of beer, you say Ipe Pijio. Wo yao Ipe Pijio. I would like, or wo xiang yao, I would like Ipe Pijio, one glass of beer. So this is what I was telling her, and she laughed. She said something to me, and this is what my mother remembered. And she said, look, she was speaking nicely. And I said, Mom, what she didn't realize is that, I had to tell her like 6 times a phrase that I learned many years ago, which was, please slow. You speak too fast. I don't understand what you are saying. And I had to say this 6 times because every time I said it, she slowed down by, let's say, 5%. So we had to do it 6 times before she got to the slow speed. And I just, even though when I say it, it sounds like, yeah, it happens many times, but I look at it from even like this weird analogy, because I imagined how it would sound for a native Chinese person. And then and let's say if I would say it in English, it would say that I said, I like 1 glass of beer. And then she would say, oh yeah, you want beer? Oh, that's perfect. Do you want a light one, dark one? Oh, that's so great. You speak Chinese, yeah. And then I would just be looking at her like this. I would say, I don't understand. You speak too fast. And to that she will say, oh, I speak too fast. Oh, I'm sorry. So I will have to slow down. You know what I mean? That is, if you would listen to this, you would be like, lady, the sounds you are making, that person, his vocabulary and understanding of the language is like a 2-year-old boy. You have to speak slow. You have to, in fact, you don't even have to, you cannot even speak correctly in your mother tongue. You have to speak incorrectly so that the other person would understand. So you would say, I like bring you 1 glass of beer. Yes, well, if she talked to me like this, to her it would sound extremely funny, because she would be like, oh my god, you know. But the point of human communication and the point of language is to communicate between each other, and it's not about if someone is correct or not correct. So that was for me the big insight about thinking about language, thinking that it's not about the content, but it's about also the form, that the form is also many times misused. It's also very interesting to think about why British people are not capable of tuning down their British accent when they travel across the world, and why a Chinese woman who when she runs, and I don't think it happens many times, that she runs into someone who hardly speaks Chinese, why she doesn't get that she should really tune down the complexity of her communication. So think about it. That's my insight, and see you soon. Bye bye.